But wait, those are F-16 fighting Falcons, not F-15 Eagles. I'm Sam.
Break the laws of space and time with the high-flying hits of Queen. I'm Tucker, and this is Iron Eagle on Stinker Madness.
What's that smell?
I don't know about you, but I'm thirsty as fuck. Thirsty as fuck.
Hey, look at these!
Thrill me.
If you come back in here, I'm gonna hit you with so many rights, you're gonna beg for a left.
Thrill me.
Beg for a left.
Thrill me.
Hey, look at these!
No more hangers!
It stinks.
Hangers! Get to the chopper!
Stinker Madness.
It turned out that I didn't have enough time to do it, but I wanted to record an all-mouth heavy metal song about jets, where it was just like, jets! Yeah! But after watching the movie, there's so much not jets that I'm like, no, it's not worth it. Next time we do a jet movie that has more jets in it, I'll do that song.
There's plenty of jets, though. I mean, there was enough for me.
There is. This is gonna. There's no way to keep this away from talking about Top Gun, so let's just get it out of the way now. One of the guys I play video games with, a streamer, Sedward, was like, excellent soundtrack. And about halfway through the movie, I'm like, I don't know about excellent. But then once Twisted Sister showed up, and then there's the Dio song, I was like, okay. So I'm going to at least right now give it better than Logins on the Top Gun soundtrack.
Well, all right. See, I love the Top Gun soundtrack pretty much from first to last track. The Iron Eagle soundtrack I also like a lot, but I don't know it as well as the Top Gun one.
Sure.
Yeah. But yeah, this one I was humming a couple songs from this. I watched this 2 days ago, and for the last 2 days, I've been walking around being like, it's been 20 long years, and the fire's still burning. He keeps playing that song over and over again. That, and of course, the Queen.
Are you talking about Road of the Gypsy?
I am talking about Road of the Gypsy.
The Detroit band Adrenaline, known for their song Road of the Gypsy from the Iron Eagle soundtrack.
That's right. Hey, they made an impact. I've been humming their song for 2 days. Not humming it, just full on singing it around the house. My family hates me.
The Queen song is One Vision.
One Vision.
And yeah, I couldn't tell what they were saying at first. So like every time because it comes, they recycle the songs pretty good in this thing. You get like 3 whacks at everything except Dio. And I think just to like make my day happier, after we get done recording, I'm going to find the song Hide in the Rainbow by Ronnie James Dio and watch the YouTube of that just to put myself in a happy place because I like Dio.
Yeah, I should check that out as well. Did you notice I guess we just talk about this, the Queen song, the One Vision song. I looked into this and I was reading some article about this movie and they said that One Vision's lyrics kind of sound, inadvertently fascistic because you're talking about like one true religion, one world, one vision, all this. But it was written in the wake of Live Aid. And apparently it was Freddie Mercury's like positive view of like world hunger, like we're going to solve world hunger. And like, this is their vision. And that's where the song comes from. And because at the end of the song, he's doing one heart, one true religion, one vision, all this stuff. But there's a part where he goes, gimme fried chicken.
Yes. Okay. I wrote that down because I was like, the mission is fried chicken ?
Which makes sense with the world hunger thing, but it never made sense to me before. But once I read that and I was like, oh, okay. But I guess I could. Understand it? It still doesn't make sense.
It doesn't make sense.
It's the only thing about food or hunger in the song, though.
Yeah. No, it's like at Live Aid, there's some people in suits trying to like use math and maybe fix the world, and all of a sudden Freddie Mercury's like, "Don't worry about it. I brought my friend Colonel Sanders. He's gonna fix it. Give me fried chicken."
It's like, I got the cure for what ails you. These people just didn't know about fried chicken. Anyway,
that's worse than not being that, because I don't know.
Yeah, it was better when it had no context. It was just
when
like,
it had
fried
no context.
chicken?
It was
what?
It was better. I just thought it was like Freddie Mercury's optimism towards fascism at the UN level, but no, it's much darker and stranger.
What is weird is I did
Fried
find
chicken
that
for all.
There was a cover of that song done like the next year by what appears to be a German band called Laibach, and they have a video which you can watch, and it is quite fascistic in its imagery.
Oh, that's no good.
Yeah, and I'm not sure if it's pro or anti, really, because I'm not sure. I mean, I don't know.
Yeah, if you do a good job, it's hard to tell. Like, I've kind of forced a number of people to read Starship Troopers by Robert Heinlein, and you get a 50-50 back either way that, like, oh, that's really, really condemning fascism, or like, well, this is, a page turner for fascist propaganda. It goes either way.
Right.
He plays it so goddamn straight that he's just not arguing either way. So it's like whatever you walk through the door with is what you walk out the door with.
Yeah.
I felt the same way about Zero Dark 30. Anytime I talked to Zero Dark 30, it was like it just amplified what they already felt.
Right.
It didn't actually argue it one way or the other.
Yeah.
This film, getting back to it, was directed by Sidney J. Furie, who you may remember from one of my favorite movies, and it starts the series of the Michael Caine espionage pictures, The Ipcris File. Have you ever seen that?
I have not.
Yeah, you should check out The Ipcris File. It's really, it's that really great period in Michael Caine's career in the 70s when his movies were just badass. Dick Carter was just badass.
That's just a huge blind spot for me. I need to see more. Yeah, I haven't watched hardly any early Michael Caine stuff.
Oh, yeah, you got to do it.
All right.
I like the Ipcris File movies.
Yeah, I've never even heard of that.
He had done sort of bigger pictures before that. Ipcris File, I think, gets for nomination for Palme d'Or. And then really derails his career with the second Iron Eagle. Superman 4 happened after that, and then he's just doing DTV shit with
Wait a minute, he did Superman 4?
Yeah.
No, wait. Now, Superman 4 is before Iron Eagle. Isn't it?
What? No.
Are you sure?
Superman 4 is like 92. This is 86.
It's got to be... Well, maybe it might be like... Hold on, I'm looking this up, because that's got to be way earlier than 92. It's got to be.
No.
I'm
I
saying...
went to the theater for that disappointment.
So did I. I saw it at the double feature with Who's That Girl starring Madonna.
Oh, fuck.
It's quite a night. It's quite a night at the cinema. 87.
Okay.
So it was right after this.
It was right after this, but before Iron Eagle 2. So really it's Superman 4
and he did Iron Eagle 2 as well.
And then Iron Eagle 2 happens, and then by the end of it, he does an Expendables knockoff with old people.
Oh, no.
Yeah, that was his last picture, was The Dependables.
The Dependables.
Yeah.
Oh, boy. Yeah, he did he did at least 3 of the Iron Eagles. Crazy.
Well, I think he produced them, and then, John Glenn from the Bond, the guy that directed several Bond films, and his career went in the shitter, too. I think he shows up to do the third Iron Eagle. I tried to read about what the Iron Eagles are about, like to be like, oh, let's have a sequel. But it's even too boring to read about like Iron Eagle 3 Aces and Iron Eagle 4 on the attack.
Yeah.
So Iron Eagle 4 is a retcon to begin with. In Iron Eagle 2, which I was lukewarm with Iron Eagle 1 to begin, and my one-liner is the way that I felt about this movie when it came out, because I lived near a Naval Air Weapons Center and I had all of the Jet t-shirts, and I've got a pretty big Jet boner, I think, even to this day.
Okay.
And so it's like Iron Eagle happens, and then like early on it's like, well, let's get these F-16s fueled up, and I'm like, those are fighting Falcons. The filmmakers do not know what they're doing here.
Yeah.
F-15 is an Eagle, god damn it.
Let's talk about the Top Gun comparison real quick. Because this movie was supposed to come out in the same summer as Top Gun, and they moved it up to January to avoid A, confusion, and B, competition. Well, A, competition with Top Gun, and B, confusion with it. So this one hit first and didn't do very well.
It did okay. It
did
made 24.
right.
It did okay. It did
but it
enough.
blew up on video.
Yeah, and it did enough on video that it got Iron Eagle 2, which tanked.
Yeah, I never saw the sequels at all.
Oh, this is the best part about like me hating these movies is they make the classic mistake. It's hard enough to get the viewer emotionally invested in Doug Masters, but they seem to kind of pull it off by the end of this film. So they kill him at the beginning of the next one, and you're like, why would you? And I don't know why that was a big thing in the 80s. You just like kill them off, like Transformers, the movie.
Right.
Kill off all your favorite Transformers and then give some shitty Transformers for later.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, that's why I didn't go back, because, as a kid, this came out when I was 8, I guess. So I probably saw it on video. I was 9 or so. And, I thought Doug Masters was cool. Like, I like to pretend to fly jets and listen to my music and my Walkman. And it all, it was like, yeah, he's another one of those movie characters that I, as a kid was like, he's cool. And then he's not in the sequel. So I was like, who cares?
Yeah. And it's weird that they'd kill someone off that is such little emotional investment that they had to spend so much on that investment. It's just strange.
Right.
The third one doesn't have anything to do with the other ones. And then the fourth one tells you that he was actually taken as a prisoner of war. And, but they couldn't get the actor back. I'm not really
Jason
sure
Gedrick?
what Jason Gedrick is doing other than trying to not do other Iron Eagle movies because he refused to do the fourth one. But Louis Gossett Jr., who's won an Academy Award and an Emmy, decided to do all 4.
That's right. He takes he's in Jaws 3D as well. And that was coming hot on the tail of that Oscar.
Was it?
It's pretty close.
It was Officer and a Gentleman, wasn't it?
Yeah. It was early 80s, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So he wasn't too choosy.
No, Louis Gossett Jr. is not very choosy. I have peppered throughout my notes, Louis! Exclamation point when he starts turning it to 11 about every third time he's on screen.
Yeah. It's good stuff.
Yeah. The most interesting thing about this, other than it, like, they released this in January, Top Gun comes out in May, same year. Top Gun's a huge explosion. This was good on video shelves because of how you got some more jets after Top Gun. The Air Force would not cooperate with the making of this film because they won't cooperate with anything where it shows the Air Force looking like, a bunch of bumbling idiots and security risks and things like that. So they had to shoot this in Israel. And it's the Israeli Air Force F-16s, and the fake MiGs are Israeli Air Force as well.
Right.
And at one point, because these were active military planes and they're still conducting strikes in the area, they had like stickers that made them look like American planes, and there was like an emergency, and one of the F-16s gets deployed to go intercept and hit a strike target. And they're like, wait,
Lebanon,
you're just like
right?
an American, you can't go.
Yeah.
And they were able to like reroute another one and go blow the thing up or whatever anyway, but also got it just in time to avoid a huge international incident.
Much like the one in the movie.
The movie, I guess, somehow avoids a huge international incident. The other link to Top Gun is the stunt pilot that was killed
That's right.
making Top Gun is the stunt pilot that does the Cessna sequence race in this movie.
Mm-hmm. Best scene in the movie,
there's
I say.
Really?
It's not much competition, but yeah.
I would say that I think the best scene was the montage of Louis Gossett Jr. going about his day while planning treason.
Yeah, that's good too.
That was my favorite.
That's my other favorite. Yeah. Anything set to a lot of music, like it.
All right, let's get into this.
All right. Opening credits. This is a pretty big one for
picture.
TriStar. This is a pretty big early one, right? Like, I associate
this is probably
this movie with TriStar.
I think they spent 10 million, or probably more like 15. So it's like this is as big as TriStar makes movies, I think.
Yeah. And at that point, they were pretty new.
And immediately you get Tim Thomerson, and you're like, awesome!
Star of the
Until
greatest
he gets shot
movie
down a
ever
little bit.
made, Rhinestone.
Yeah. Okay, yeah.
Mm-hmm. It's just matter of fact.
So the way that you see the guys in jets flying, they're like they're upright when you see like the view of the outside of the jet.
Mm-hmm.
They look like they're paying attention and, sitting up and doing their work, right?
Mm-hmm.
But whenever you get these jet angle of the camera in the cockpit, does it just seem like they're like leaning back like they're super tired?
Yeah,
Just
they
like,
kind of not move their
damn it.
heads.
yeah.
It's weird.
The jet cam angle is weird, and it makes people look super uncomfortable.
Yeah. Is the camera just too big? They can't. I mean, are they really in jets in those shots?
Are the
actors
can't
in
be
jets
in
in this
jets.
shot? In these movies? In this movie?
They're not.
No.
They made and then Top Gun's the same way. In all the other jet movies, it's like the guy that made the jets rig. Like all of a sudden, everybody's like, "Well, that's the only way to do it is to make everybody look like they're sitting on their keys." Because Thomerson shows up and he's like, "Got a bogey on my 6, and I think somebody put a cucumber in my seat."
Yeah. It's about right.
And him and his wingman are just doing a routine pissing contest.
I guess. This is also how Top Gun starts.
This gets like, yeah, well, this is where they say the air border is, but we say it's over here. So we just fly through with our big dicks or whatever, and they usually don't do anything, but this time they fucking shot at us.
Yeah.
So Thomerson and his wingman are zipping through there in their awesome jets, and the MiGs, the fake MiGs, because we've never seen a MiG in a movie because the Russians wouldn't allow their military to be available to us during the Cold War for the making of silly movies.
Weird.
It's weird.
So weird.
So the fake MiGs, they shoot. They don't even like say, "Get out of our airspace." They just like
You are
shoot
in
missiles.
our airspace. If you do not leave,
Yeah.
that's it.
And these missiles, we don't see them. I guess they blow up some other stuff.
Yeah. Have you noticed when like planes
then
and stuff blow up, like in this, it's as if they're standing still. Like the shot where they blow up, it's just like a plane on a stick.
Yeah, it is a plane on a stick exploding. It's a red hot.
It's really cool.
Come get your... There's one shot where one blows up on the ground that they didn't do a good job with the spray paint. And they left the fake plane on screen too long. And you're like, that's not a real one.
Right.
Is it going to blow up? Oh, there it goes. Weird. So Thomerson, even though he's got a cucumber in his seat, he's like, oh, shit, this is really giving me some problems. But he shoots down 3 of the MiGs. His little air buddy takes some damage and goes home. And then the other 3 get Thomerson.
Yeah.
And he's gone down.
He's down. Mayday.
And then we just cut to America. Where the kid from Pee-wee's Big Adventure, Robert Jane, is already just hamming it up on screen. Do you remember the little brother in Pee-wee's Big Adventure? He's the monster child actor that's like...
No, that's Jason Hervey.
Is it?
Yeah.
It's not Robert Jane?
No.
Okay, I got him confused then.
But what else is
like
this guy
same.
in? Because I know him from other things, too. Anyway. Yeah, he's catfishing a girl on the landline, a junior.
He's in Tremors, I guess.
Oh, yeah, that's him. Tremors,
There
totally. Yeah.
So he's pretending to be the bigger brother, and he's like hitting on old girls, and
Yeah.
his actual older brother, that's Jason Gedrick's like, quit screwing around. I got to go over here and screw around.
But the first time we see Jason Gedrick, he's like got some tools and he's messing with his Walkman. What's he doing? He's giving it a tune-up or something.
I don't know whether or not there is a good point to talk about naturally, organically say about his fucking Walkman bullshit. So we just do it now because he's going to get into his car. He has a Walkman and some 1/4 inch, like a really nice 1/4 inch accordion cable that he plugs into various things so that he can just have his tunes wherever.
Yeah.
But like all of the places he takes this are like places that have tape decks already or could. Like his Mustang.
Right. Yeah.
It's like, I get if you want to leave the original stereo in there for the aesthetics and for the classic nature of the car. But he had to rig in like a hot box to plug his Walkman into. Just get a blah punt.
It's because he doesn't get the fucking tunes that he gets out of his Walkman because he can tune that shit up with those tools. He keeps that thing
that's true.
clean. Like it plays nice. You can tell by how it makes him drive and stuff.
He's also made his own robot leg device for his Walkman that
Like
plugs into flight
straps it
helmets.
around. It's awesome.
Yep.
It's pretty cool. You gotta admit.
I think it is pretty cool. When I was a kid, I'm watching it and I'm like, man, I'm really miffed about this being called Iron Eagle and having F-16 Falcons in it. But I feel like I need one of those Walkman leg things to make my life better.
I still need one. I still think that's what my life is missing.
I think I tried to make one and it didn't work out great.
Oh, man.
Especially because I didn't have a good Walkman because we didn't have money for shit like that. So I had like this Sanyo that was giant and plastic.
Sure.
And it would only had play and fast forward.
Right. And you put new batteries in it and it would play just a little too fast until the battery started going. Then it would start slowing down.
Yeah, and the beginning of the tape was slower than the end of the tape. Yeah.
Those were good Walkmans.
I listened to
Walkman?
Def Leppard. Yeah, I listened to Def Leppard on that, and my mom caught me. And she's like, she freaked out because she knew that I was listening to the devil's music.
Ah, the devil's music. Def Leppard.
And she like sat me down and had this whole thing about like why triangles are satanic symbols. And I was like, that's not what they said in geometry in school. So they're just fucking triangles.
No mention of Satan anywhere.
Yeah. So it became such a thing that my dad came home and he's like, my mom's like, your son's worshiping the devil. We have to stop it now. And he's like, what? Okay, I was at work. What's going on here? She's like, he's listening to this. And he's like, don't be listening to that sissy crap. And then he walked into the garage, and that was the last anybody heard of it.
Wow. I convinced my mom to get a BMG membership, and then I ordered Shout at the Devil by Motley Crue. And it came. I usually would beat the mail home from school, but that day I didn't because she had also ordered like a George Strait tape or something. And she opened it up and was none too pleased. And she opened the tape and read the liner notes. And she said, it's got bad language in there, and it's got this and that. And I was like, you opened it up, though. I was like, and then she's like, she didn't want it in the house, and she didn't want me listening to it. And then she gave it back to me, and told me to get rid of it. And I was like, oh, okay. So then I had Shout at the Devil.
I am getting right on that.
Yeah, that'll be gone. Sure, whatever.
I'm calling the Vulgar Language Services Bureau right now for proper disposal of this vile trash.
Sorry about that. The Devil's music. It was the best.
So they end up, or he goes to the drive-thru because that's where the kids hang out, I guess.
Right. Oh, and it's prom night that night, and the next day is graduation. Am I right? Getting this right?
I feel like they're running stuff too tight at this high school.
Yeah, it's crazy. They got way too much going on. Everybody's getting ready for everything.
And with all of that going on, and all the problems that are already going to be associated with having a tandem prom and graduation, beyond that, you've got Notcher chasing his girlfriend around on a dirt bike. Now,
Notcher. Michael Bowen, right? He's great.
Yeah.
I love Notcher. He's such an asshole. And his gang is Court from Friday the 13th 6 and Tommy from The Karate Kid. Like those are his two little minions with him. And then you get
Isn't there somebody else?
Jason's
Wait, there's another.
Oh, with them? Who's the other one with them?
With Doug's crew, isn't the one blonde kid in Karate Kid as well? Like there's just
the on Doug's crew you got you got Styles from Teen Wolf.
Styles from Teen Wolf, that's who it is.
Yeah, and you got Reggie, who is the black guy in Revenge of the Nerds. What's his name in that?
There we go.
What's his character's name in that? I can't remember. Revenge of the Nerds.
I don't remember, but
yeah.
Remember his limp-wristed throwing style.
Exactly. But he's Reggie in this. And then, you got the guy that reminds me of Cousin Oliver. And I don't know. His name's Milo, I think. And then his girlfriend is Melora Hardin, who fans of The Office will know as Jan from The Office. Like she's on a big, huge show later. I had no idea it was her. Like, I didn't even recognize her this time. And then I was just looking it up, and I was like, "Holy shit, that's her!"
Yeah, the gal from Saw shows up as one of the teenagers.
Yeah, Shawnee Smith.
Shawnee Smith.
Yeah.
There's a lot of this is a veritable who's who of maybe kind of people you should know. I'm not sure.
I was like, yeah, it looks like when they set up the race and everything, and they're like, we'll follow in the monitor plane. And when everybody got in the monitor plane, I was like, shit, it's like an 80s movie convention in there.
It is an 80s movie convention. So apparently there's this whole thing where like Notcher's like, yeah, I hate you because you won't race me. And you're like, okay, motorcycle race or something. Also in this scene, it turns out that Dougie, because he's a doofus, can't go to the Air Force Academy, which is really hard to get into.
Right.
Even if you have straight A's, it's hard to get into the Air Force Academy.
Doug doesn't have straight A's.
No,
he's too busy listening to "It's Been 20 Long Years" and driving like a maniac on the Air Force base.
And sneaking into places that he shouldn't go.
Yeah.
The Air Force is running this thing like a hot dog stand. I'm just going to say that right now.
Yeah, it's a disaster. They're running it like the frozen banana stand in Arrested Development is what they're running it like. Anyway, go ahead.
Yeah, they are. Notcher finds his letter of dismissal and goes over to the intercom at the drive-thru and really embarrasses the hell out of Doug because he didn't get in, and he reads it to everybody. And so Doug's like, I'm going to fight you. I want to fight you. And he's like, well, if you fight me, we'll get in trouble. Yeah. We can only settle this on the racetrack. I was like, so he flies and he rides motorcycles? No. It's a motorcycle versus a plane race.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Makes perfect sense.
When I was young, I watched Lupin the Third for the first time, an anime comedy series that's action comedy, robbery business, heist stuff. It's very fun. In one sequence, they're chasing after this plane in a boat, and they're shooting at it. And one of the characters turns and he says, chasing a plane in a boat is stupid. And so they just stop doing it.
Huh.
That's how I feel about this. Racing a plane with a motorcycle is stupid.
Well, I mean, maybe a fair race would be stupid. But when one side is planning on A, cheating on their route, and B, murdering their opponent, it livens things up a little bit.
And this is the first we see of Louis Gossett Jr., Chappie. And he's like tuning the Cessna for Doogie.
Yeah.
He's like, why are you touching my plane, old man? He's like, yeah, you're going to run that race? That last kid that did it, he splattered all over the side of the mountain because he wasn't running his fuel rich enough. Blah, 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 blah.
He has
plane
to stay
mechanic.
under 50 feet, which does also not seem to be the case when he's actually doing the race. But
no, he seemed like he's over 50 a couple times.
Yeah.
Seems like he's under 10 a couple times, though, too.
Sure, yeah.
So after they yell at each other for the first of many instances of yelling at each other for no reason, he's like, thanks, I guess. And he's like, go ahead and die, kid, whatever. Because that's what he's doing. It's like, only a man-bad would run that race.
Yeah.
I fixed you up good. I'm going to watch you blow up and eat some popcorn.
What do I owe you, he says. And he's like, we'll talk about that later, if you come back.
If you come back.
Mm-hmm. So this kid's about to go kill himself.
Did the FAA just, like, I feel like they've always been a little pretty tight. Like, you can't just loosey-goosey with FAA rules.
This is a kind of movie that I feel was written by someone like me who knows nothing about that and is going off all the information they got from watching Iron Eagle when they were 8 and 9 years old.
Yeah.
It's a pretty good race, though, I think.
Yeah.
I mean,
it's filler for sure.
Yeah. It's a good time.
It's very expensive.
Mm-hmm. Well, you got all those A-list actors in those planes.
Yes. So they run the race, and as you said, Notcher is he's taken a cheater route, a shortcut,
like fire road or something.
Yeah,
which I think they act like, well, it's a fire road, and it's like he didn't say you had to stay on a road. He said you had to stay on the main road. Like that's what he said when they set the rules of the race. That's not the main road. It's a cheat.
No, it's not the main road, and also. That's not Bruce Penhall, and this isn't an Andy Sedaris movie. I'm falling out pretty quick here. I don't know how he was able to do this stuff so much better than these guys with all this money, but he did.
Yeah.
Probably because he had a really good motorcycle guy.
Yeah.
So he takes the fire road, and then they're like, "Oh no. He's cheating. He's going to get 3 minutes of extra time. You're coming up to Devil's Face." This is where that other kid died and ruined a plane. And you think it's a race, but what he does is he uses the Devil's Face rock formation as a half pipe.
Yeah, what's going on there? What is that about?
And then he does it again. And so he's just half piping these mountains in his plane.
Meanwhile, Notcher has to do nothing.
He's just riding. He's wheeling around just as goddamn much.
It's hardly as dangerous.
These two freewheeling assholes are both going to die one day.
But Reggie has one of my favorite lines here when he's impressed with Doug's flying, and he says, "Keep jamming to the tunes, 'cause you zooming."
Yeah, that's a good line.
That's a really good line. I'm going to steal that.
Also, maybe you should fly in a direction that would win the race and not just keep going for style points here.
Yeah, what are you doing? It's a race. It doesn't make any sense. Oh, man. And we find out that Notcher made Tommy from the Karate Kid fuck with Doug's plane.
He fucked with the oil cap, I guess. And when Louis Gossett Jr. was fixing it up to where
he must have done
he
it
doesn't
after
die.
Right?
Okay. Or he just was like, somebody's fucked with the oil cap.
I'll just leave it.
Well, you're going to have throttle, son.
I'm giving him the benefit of the doubt there. It's the only place I'll give it to him.
He gives a nice launchpad McQuack landing after he wins the race, which there's like ribbons that they fly through that might jam the engine. Seems dangerous.
Yeah. That's
Doesn't
pretty
matter
cool.
because he crashes with the shit.
That's a pretty cool stunt shot, though, with the motorcycle and the plane.
Yeah, the whole stunt sequence is dangerous as shit for both the writer and the pilot. It's a good scene. It's just because of how dubious it is, you're scratching your head going, why are they... Is it a race?
I don't know. There's toilet paper strung up for them to fly through, so I guess it's a race.
Yeah. Once he crashes his plane and makes sure that his leg Walkman sleeve apparatus is okay.
That's most important.
He punches Notcher in the face.
Right. And this establishes that Doug Masters don't take no shit, I guess.
Or he does until he wins the race or something, because he was taking shit before.
That's true.
And then before anything else can happen, the Air Force shows up and they're like, you got to come to the base.
It's Milo. Yeah, Milo shows up.
It's
your dad.
And he's like, he's gone down. They don't say where. They never say what this country is. Did you notice that?
It's a fictitious, non-existent country.
And anytime there's a map, you cannot get a good look at it.
No.
Like, there couldn't be more vague about this place that he was.
I mean, at least good on them for that, I suppose.
Yeah.
I mean, it's inflammatory enough that it's just this shitty, stereotypical 80s right-wing fantasy of a horrible Middle Eastern country. And, if you had put it on a real map, might have ruffled more feathers.
It is so 80s that at one point there's a Ronald Reagan cheerleading session in the dialogue of the film.
Uh-huh. Reggie says...
Yeah.
He's like, we'll get him. Don't worry, Doug. And Doug says, what about Iran? And he says, well, that was when Mr. Peanut was in there. Now we got this new guy. There's a reason they call him Ronnie Raygun. But then we find out that Ronnie Raygun's just as ineffectual as Mr. Peanut, apparently. Why do they rah, USA, USA, USA so much? And then the whole point of the thing is that the USA fucking sucks and can't do anything. So Americans gotta go do it because their government's so shitty. But yet, rah, USA. It's always so conflicted to me.
That I've found my next year's Halloween costume, provided that COVID allows us to have a Halloween.
Ronnie Raygun?
I'm going to be Ronnie Raygun.
I'll be Mr. Peanut.
So I should just round up some broken solar panels and pee on them just to add insult to injury in the costume world. Stick into the story world of our costumes.
We'll stand on opposite sides of the room all night glaring at each other.
After some long period of sitting around, he finally just goes into mission control, because you're allowed to do that when you're a visitor on an air base.
Yeah.
And he's like, "What's going on, Colonel Burger Buddies?"
Mm-hmm.
And this guy's like, "Texas, yeah!"
Yeah. He's like, they'd hand me my ass if they knew I was showing you this stuff, but come on over here.
Yeah, he just does that constantly. "I'll tell you what's happening. Horse shit is happening."
Boy, if I could, Doug, I'd go over there myself and put my foot right up their ass. But, the boys upstairs, they just ain't letting it happen.
That's exactly the dialogue that is in the movie.
It's pretty good. And, they poo-poo the idea of negotiations or talking to anybody.
Hey, you want to talk to him first? God damn it, I'm just going to drop a bomb on them.
Oh, man. Is this where we get to meet the villain? Finally?
Question mark. The general, who's also an ace fighter pilot.
Right. And he's also the
trial.
The guy hunting Bigfoot and Harry and the Hendersons.
Is it the same guy?
Yeah. I was like, I know that guy from probably a million things, but it's got to be something. And then that's what it was. I was like, it's Harry and the Hendersons. And then I looked him up, and he's got like almost 200 credits. He's in everything.
He's in everything. And you're like, hey, it's the guy from Harry and the Hendersons.
That's the guy.
And if you were to see him on the street and yell at, he'd like turn and go, "Oh yeah, I was in that movie."
Harry and the Hendersons. It's all you ever did, right?
So blah 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 airspace, blah 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 flight trainer. The mission is fried chicken shows up here in my notes. That must be the first time that the Queen song comes on during. There's a lot of nothing that happens in between this guy getting captured and the mission starting.
Well, they go to prom and they do all that stuff. They have graduation.
Yeah, they have graduation.
Reggie and his girlfriend take over the dance floor at prom. That's pretty exciting. Yeah, I'm
going to skip ahead.
Yeah, let's skip ahead.
I'm going to skip over the prom and the graduation, and I'm going to where he finally starts enlisting Louis Gossett Jr. to help him.
Oh, well, they find out that his dad has a show trial, and they give him 3 days till he's hanged.
Yeah.
Yeah, so they have 3 days to figure out what to do.
And his pitch is, people love my dad. We can't leave him there.
Yeah.
People love ice cream. I leave it at the store all the time.
Seriously. I bet almost everybody that dies has people that love them.
Yep. And then Dougie says the line that I think is the most outlandish in the film. "You don't give a shit enough."
Oh. Ooh. Chappie's not taking that line down.
He isn't. He's like, "Fuck it. I'm in. Treason."
Oh, man. Chappie's still, he's still reeling from all the people he's seen die in combat, this country that he feels let him down. This is like the MAGA-ist movie. The MAGA-iest movie.
The MAGA-iest movie?
Yeah.
It's not.
Oh, it's not?
No.
Do you have one already crowned?
Well, I think any of those that guy made that worked for Trump that were propaganda films.
Well, sure. I meant, movie that people saw. Pretty much all the 80s action movies.
This one's pretty America. Because if you can, I told some people that we were doing this week, and one of my friends was like, it's actually more like Red Dawn than it is like Top Gun. And it kind of is, only it's like a Red Dawn where they all don't get killed because they're teenagers fighting the Soviets.
Right.
Whereas this is no, our teenagers can defeat you in jet fights.
Yeah. Our teenagers are upgraded.
Speaking of, apparently, because it goes into flashbacks at this point with Thomerson bringing his son to work, I don't think you can do that when you're a jet pilot.
No, and he takes him up in the plane and lets him fly, and then like they come back down, and another pilot's like, "Hey, I'm doing some fancy work up there, huh, Masters?" And Doug's standing there with his helmet on and everything, acting like he's not. And then they just like they walk like 4 feet away from that situation after the guy turns and leaves, and then he's like, "Doug," and they stand there on the tarmac like fucking talking about it. I'm like, this is not cool. It's not okay. You guys are going to get busted.
It's like a $26 million piece of equipment there, son. Probably more than that. I don't even know how much jets cost. With inflation, who knows?
Yeah, who knows? That could never be calculated.
Yeah.
Is this okay? So then they assemble the Eagles at their clubhouse. Gets all the kids together, and he's like, here's what we're going to do. We got 3 days. We're going to go in. We're going to blow shit up and get my dad.
Mm-hmm.
And Chappie's going to help us. So then, we're not going to take it.
Yep.
Yeah. Montage of kids outsmarting the United States Air Force.
Not even really outsmarting them.
So
it's just like, Janice, go over there.
Yeah.
You're going to save some time on your paperwork. Okay.
Drop some paper clips. Oh,
yeah.
Steal all the records.
So Milo just gets into the computer and redirects 2 aircraft to Spain.
Mm-hmm.
Like, Milo basically just goes in there and makes an official mission in the official missions log, and everything runs so smoothly on this base. It's like, oh, we got a couple late ads on these official missions. It's like, we're going to rescue that guy, even though the Texas guy is just running around yelling horse shit over and over again, like we're not going to do this mission. Also looks like, oh, somebody's getting a Hades bomb. Ooh, yeah, those seem hard to get.
The fuck?
Hard to get.
And why would they think they need that?
Well, he has to have it for the escape.
Well, I mean, I know how he uses it. Just seems like quite a thing to bring along.
Yeah. So this raises my first question. Is this why they call it the Chair Force?
Ah. I suppose so.
Taking a little stab. Taking a little stab at him right there.
I mean, they are always seated.
We get through my favorite scene in the movie, or montage anyway, of Louis Gossett Jr. making him follow him with like maps while he's jogging, taking a shower, eating food. He's like, you like Italian food? Yeah. They go to a pizza place. Maybe. I'll give it a hall pass on that one. And then he's using the pepperonis as demonstrators of his fighting prowess in the air.
Yeah. You know what that montage reminds me of? It reminds me of the studying montage in Back to School. Like, there's even like shower parts in both.
Yeah. This one doesn't have a triple Lindy in it. There's plenty of hot dogging, but there's no triple Lindy. Oddly enough, the director, Sidney J. Furie, probably one of his last theatric films was Ladybugs with Rodney Dangerfield.
Oh yeah. Crazy.
Yeah.
Interesting. Maybe.
So they assemble the team. The strike force is ready. They're basically already working for the Air Force, I guess. And so they know how to do all of it.
Right.
They steal a bunch of intel. They get everything buttoned up. All the T's are crossed. All the I's are dotted.
Mm-hmm. Time to go.
So they go out to... He gives them you're the best prep team I've ever worked with. Congratulations on your treason.
Yeah. See you all in federal prison. On the other side.
Yeah. They go out the next morning. And they're on the tarmac. They're getting ready to get in their jets. And they're like, oh, I don't see it on the call sheet. And you're like, oh, they're caught. And then some guy drives up. He's like, nope, it was in the computer. It's here. Like, oh, sorry, sir.
Oh, that was a close one.
That was a close one.
The fucking bumbling Air Force almost fucked up their fake mission.
I have a conspiracy theory that I'm going to burn through right now.
All right.
They got caught, but they got caught by fucking Burger Buddy Texas. And he's like, well, just going to let this one slide.
Let's just
Whoopsie.
look the other way.
Yep, exactly. They're like, how did you let this happen? Oh, I don't know. I was looking over there.
Yeah.
See that plant? It's pretty neat looking, right?
You better come back, Doug, he says to himself as the other guys leave.
Yeah. God damn it, this is just crazy enough to work.
This is gonna work. Oh, man. So then they fly off. They're flying into enemy airspace, and already they're behind. This is my favorite.
They're off schedule.
They're off schedule
And
by
Doug
7 minutes. 7 minutes behind. And Doug's like, I got something that can help with that. And he puts on fried chicken. And it works. Like immediately they're like, we've made up 3 minutes. I don't know why that works.
I don't know how. And the whole time with this nonsense where they're both in planes, you've got Doug whining incessantly. And then Louis Gossett Jr. Chappie is just like, goddamn smart-ass kid's just bitching about his whining constantly. And you're like, good, just stop.
Yeah.
Just start shooting down something, please. You're tiring me with this routine of whining and yelling at whining.
And it feels like almost immediately Chappie's like, listen, if anything happens to me, put that tape in that I gave you and listen to that tape. Like immediately, like he's not even, it feels like nothing's even happening yet. It feels like he's like deliberately going to go get shot down so he can listen to that tape. He's like, I'd hate for that tape to go to waste that I made for Doug.
More conspiracy theories. More conspiracy theories. Burger Buddy Texas Colonel has looked the other way, totally knows that Chappie's going to do this. Chappie went down in what would be considered, the U.S. is considered airspace, right? He doesn't go all the way in. So, like, at worst, at his court-martial, he's going to be convicted of freewheeling, and he's probably just going to lose a rank.
Doug's a minor, maybe.
Doug has stolen a jet and is attacking a sovereign nation with it.
Yeah, he'll get off with a slap on the wrist.
Slap on the wrist because he's under 18.
Yeah, just got to protect Chappie.
Oh, you know he's a good boy, goddammit.
Yeah.
He
Good
stole
American
a jet
boy.
and he attacked another sovereign nation.
But they had his daddy.
That's true, they did. And he can do loop-de-loop, so fuck it.
Yeah.
Jets!
Oh man. Oh, so when they start like attacking the nation of whatever it is, Chappie starts shooting things with machine guns. Like he shoots the runway with machine guns and shit's exploding like left and right. Like things that don't look like they have anything in them even. Like a tower.
Yeah, no, like
I mean, is that filled with gasoline or something? Like it's like
it must be.
Seems unsafe.
The dirt is catching on fire on its own in some of these scenes. Like, but it's just dirt. Bullets do that?
I guess.
These ones do. They come out of jets.
These Israeli fighters don't fuck around, man.
No. No, depleted uranium shells can do a thing. I don't know if they have those in F-16s. They probably do. I don't know. So, yeah, he's blowing shit up. They're taking out the ground forces so they can't get the anti-air fire on their way out. And Chappie takes some flak damage. His electronics are on the fritz.
He has like they have like one line digital readout that says things like turbine failed. And it's like
enemy destroyed happens a lot.
Yeah. They have that and they have like the compass style thing, and then there's not much. It's not very high tech yet in the 80s.
The senior Colonel Masters has programmed his display just to flash boobs over and over again.
Now that's a good use of equipment.
Yeah. That's what, so that the other guy, the Texas guy, could be like, what do you mean your instruments aren't working? Colonel Masters just has boobs flashing on his all the time, and he blows the shit out of everything.
Maybe you're the one that's not working. America.
He's in a bad way, but he's not in such a bad way that he can't do some hot dogging, dog fighting. And he's like, you just worry about those ground targets. I'm going to blow up these MiGs. And he does, but then his plane's too shitty. And he crashes, I guess. We don't really see what happens to Chappie.
No.
We just know that Doug's really sad because he's like, Chappie, no!
And he says Mayday, and then he disappears. Like, he's just gone.
Mm-hmm.
And so then Doug has to climb high and listen to this tape. And Chappie's like, well, things must have gone horribly awry.
Yeah. If you're listening to this, you've stolen a jet and you're now by yourself in the Middle East.
Face it.
Things could be worse if you were on fire.
Facing a lifetime in federal prison.
If you don't get shot down and tortured to death.
Repercussions you can't possibly fathom at your young age. Well, I'm going to guide you through it.
Just listen to this part, and then when you get to the next part, hit play again. Then on the way back, side B is just James Brown, who also didn't want to be in the soundtrack. Because the Ike and Tina song wasn't on the soundtrack, James Brown wasn't on the soundtrack, and Twisted Sister said, you can put it in the movie, but you can't have us for the soundtrack.
Oh, yeah. That's right. Which is, understandable with, we're not going to take it. It was already a huge hit for, years already.
Yeah.
It had been out there, so. And it feels like most of the soundtracks from that time were more like, we want popular artists, but we want them to write a song for our movie. Or give us a song that hadn't been released yet.
It's odd how we're going to get sidetracked on the soundtrack. The movies that were written for the film seem to fit the least.
Oh,
you know what I mean?
yeah.
They just never work out.
It's true.
So Chappie's gone. He's now blowing up airfields and other things and talking directly to the other country about how they giving him specific directions on the release of his father. And he's like, I've got a whole squadron. If you don't cooperate, I'm going to blow up your oil fields. They kind of flirt with not cooperating, so he just blows up the oil fields.
Yeah. He doesn't fuck around, man.
Gas prices just went up.
He's an American.
There's also an ecological disaster.
Yeah. I mean, this is what we do.
That's what. So when they're watching this, because they can see all this in Air Force Command, or I'm assuming, and the Texas Burger Buddy guys, they're like, "Sir, he's blown up an oil field. It's an ecological disaster." And he's like, "Yep, now they know he means business."
That's right. It won't be fucking with us for a while. Texas. That's what people from Texas sound like.
So eventually he gets to the point where he's blown up enough stuff that they let his dad drive a Jeep to the end of the runway, and he uses the Hades bomb, which is just napalm, and it's burning. And they can't drive through it, but the general to the foreign country is like, just drive through it.
Yeah.
And so a guy on a motorcycle and a sidecar drive through napalm.
Yeah. And this is after 2 trucks tried it and didn't make it. Then they're like, send the guy on with the sidecar. That ought to do it.
Do we have any brave men left? He says that. They're like, nope.
Yeah.
They're pretty fried up, those ones.
He says it like an insult to them.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, you're the worst.
Yeah. They eventually get a big Mad Max style truck coming through there, but he shoots a missile on the ground. I went to the library after I watched this movie the next school day I had to try to find information on whether you could fire the missile while on the ground, because I wanted this movie to be wrong about everything, because I was so pissed off that it was called Iron Eagle and it had F-16 Falcons in it. I was unable to find that information in my grade school library, and the librarian was confused at how distressed I was that wasn't readily available in the grade school library. That there wasn't like the design. Yeah. We didn't have McDonnell Douglas design specifications in the grade school library.
It's weird to think about how hard it was to get certain information back then. You know, we just take it for granted now that you can find out almost anything, but yeah, there was you had to search for information.
Or how hard it would be to be a grade school librarian when you're looking at this child who's distressed because he can't prove Hollywood wrong, and all she can say is, "Well, I've got these books with pictures of jets in them."
Yeah.
You're like, "I've already read those 10 times. God damn it, lady. You're no help at all." Okay, you know what? I will take that one right there.
I'll read that again. Fine. Fine.
They make off into the air, and now there's 6 MiGs that have been deployed from another airbase, I guess. And the general's like, "Which is your most heavily loaded jet?" And they're like, "Number 13, sir." Yeah. And he doesn't say, "Why didn't you just load them all up?"
Yeah. Right, we put them all on that guy. All of our weapons are on this one, right over here.
Yeah.
Everyone else has 2 revolvers. 2 6-shooters.
Plane 6 has 1 bomb. And plane 14 is where all the sandwiches are for later.
He's got the picnics.
So the general's like, "That guy that's got all the bang pow, send him down here."
Yeah, get him out of the air.
This imaginary country's version of the Texas guy. He really is.
Yeah, for sure.
So he's like, "I'm going to get up there and do it myself, goddammit."
Yeah.
And so he takes the guy's clothes in his jet, and he's up in the air. And now it's time for single combat.
The Masters.
Doogie versus... Yeah, the Masters' family versus the general of an imaginary country.
I'll give you
There's
one
too much
guess.
Talking in this jet fight.
You're right.
They're just talking back and forth. And, "I'm going to get you," and this and that. And you can't talk to each other in jet fights, can you?
I mean, I wouldn't think so. Feels like most of the talking is Doug and his dad. And then that guy jumps on the line for a couple lines at the end.
No, he tells her, he's like, "I'm going to get you." Not really quite like that, but that's basically it.
Yeah.
"You American pig dogs, look at my barrel rolls." Because they're hot dogging all over the goddamn place, too.
Yeah.
It's like, get on with it and one of you shoot the other one.
For real. Oh, man.
Eventually, after some really style points flying, Doug is able to blow up the enemy aircraft with the general in it. However, now they're down to 2 bombs and 30 bullets.
Oh, man.
And that's just not enough. They're not enough to fight the 4 planes that are left. But that's okay, because Major Dwight Smiley is here.
Hey, Doug, we got you.
Yep.
Yeah.
"We're just going to press them for some intel. You boys want to have an air fight? Looks like they don't want to have a fight. All right, let's get that wounded bird back on the ground, son."
And then Doug's like, "Sir, could we fire the missing man formation for Colonel Chappie?" He's like, "We've saved the spot in front for you, Doug."
Yeah. If that's a thing, yes, we can. Definitely do that if that is a thing.
I've never heard of that, Doug, but you go right ahead. We're in A formation now. You just take your place up front. We'll call it the missing man formation if that's what you want. Whatever. You're the greatest American that ever lived, Doug.
So Colonel Masters is saved, and now they got some splaining to do.
But luckily,
But it's okay.
Chappie lives.
Chappie lives. Of course he does. How could he be in the next 3 movies if he died?
What a shocker.
And they're like, are we going to prison, Chappie? And he's like, yep. Yep, we are.
It's going to be good.
Yeah. Just
They're
stand up
gonna
straight
love
and act like it doesn't bother you too much. They like that. Is that going to help? Nope, but they like it.
But then the Air Force is like, you know what? You guys are way better Air Force than we are. You can stay. And you can get into the academy. And you can...
Yeah, their general of the Air Force is like, in light of us running this like a hot dog cart, we're going to go ahead and slap you boys on the wrist.
Yeah. Get away with it.
You brought everything back. Well, no, you crashed one of the planes. You're, oh, Jesus. This is really tying my hands, boys. This is really tying my hands.
Yeah. Man, not to mention just what's happened in the region. I mean, come on. This is going to lead to some bad shit.
Yeah.
But, you know.
But it's okay, because Doug's in the Air Force, so that what would happen can happen. He would get shot down, and he does in the next movie.
And Rhinestone's Tim Thomerson got to live. So
he's probably still an ace pilot, because he's Tim fucking Thomerson.
Hell yeah.
That's the movie.
Sure is.
Oh, I guess they go back. No, this is really stupid.
Oh.
The end of the movie actually sucks worse than this, because they go back to America, and there's like a newsman there like, that's so-and-so, he's been, and they're in Air Force One. You're like, that's Doug. I guess he just got to go over there and come back too. And there's Chappie. He's, and then they hug their mom, and then it's over, I guess.
It's like military band and everything. Like it's a big hero's welcome for everybody coming back. And then all the Eagles are there, and Styles and Reggie are like, they turn like they're gonna ignore him, and then they turn around, run at him, and give him big hugs. Those guys, what cut ups?
Yeah, well, actually, they turned and acted like they were gonna let him make out with his girlfriend for a minute, but they're like, no,
oh, that's what it was. Yeah,
yeah.
No way, we get to make out too, and then they go make out with him too. And there's like this hardcore 4-way going on the right out on the tarmac there. Everybody's cheering, and the band's playing, and Chappie's saluting them.
Tuesday at an Air Force base.
Yeah, that's what got it the PG-13.
Mm-hmm. That it was PG-13. It's too bad.
So yeah, that's it.
What?
Oh, and then you get the theme song, the "Never Say Die, Iron Eagle."
There's lines in the movie. Why is this movie called Iron Eagle?
Well, they're called their club is the Eagles, I think. They say it several times, and I never got like if it was like a nickname for him or what.
So there's a line in the movie where Louis Gossett Jr. is like, pretend that plane on you is steel armor. You're an Iron Eagle.
Right.
And then they're the Eagles. He gets like, I guess his imaginary call sign is Iron Eagle in the movie, like for later. But the thing is, all of that is totally disposable in order to decrease the confusion of the F-16s and the F-15s.
and even disregarding the plane thing, the villain calls him Iron Eagle at some point And there's no like context for him having heard him be called that.
There is none.
No. So, yeah.
So it's like they backed up the Iron Eagle with added lines of dialogue.
Right.
Like somebody told the director, those are F-16 Falcons. You should call this Iron Falcon. He's like, God damn it, don't backtalk me. Then he adds stuff in to make it worse.
They're like, they had it all done, and then they couldn't get the right jets, you know. And so they had the Falcons. They're like, well, we already have the jackets made for the kids. Got to stick with Eagles. Iron Eagle.
Well, I would think that that's a possibility, that originally they wanted to use F-15s. The Air Force said no. I think at this point maybe only the Navy has those. I'm not sure. But it doesn't seem like that was the case at all.
No.
It seems like they just pissed me off for no reason.
I think that's probably it.
Yeah. They're like, why did you name that Iron Eagle? Because the script's name is Junior Eagle.
Huh. Junior Eagle.
So he's just got married to that eagle part of it and was disregarding that there is actually an eagle plane in the fleet. You screwed it up. You've pissed off a man for most of his life.
Man, I didn't know this was such a sore spot when I picked it.
Oh, that's why I was like, Iron Eagle.
Right.
Because it pisses me off. Leading to my second question, why is this 2 hours long?
That is a good question. I wonder that as well. Like when I was starting to watch, I was like, this is 2 hours long. Doesn't feel like it's 2 hours long. I mean, which is to its credit, I suppose. I don't feel like it takes too long, but it doesn't feel like that much happens either. So it doesn't feel like should be a 2 hour movie.
Between the jet fighting at the beginning and the end, virtually any one of those scenes is disposable. Maybe they're just so all interchangeably disposable that they couldn't decide which ones to get rid of.
Yeah.
They're like, none of these scenes are any better than the other. And they all really don't help the movie, I guess. We'll just leave them all there.
This is just an assembly cut. And they were like, all right, you ready to cut this down? And they're like, all right. And then they looked at it and they're like, yeah, let it go. Yeah, just send it out that way. It's fine.
Nobody's going to watch this anyway.
Yeah.
You got
just these guys.
Don Simpson's making a jet movie right now. You think he's not going to eat our lunch? He's going to eat our lunch.
Here's what I will give this movie over Top Gun. Top Gun doesn't really have much of a story at all. Like, it's just a series of incidents,
a series
of circumstances,
wiener showing contests.
Yeah, like there's nothing going on in that movie. This at least has a stupid plot to hang on it, to hang all its bullshit on. Like I think of Top Gun, I'm like, yeah, it looks great. It has the star power. It has that soundtrack, but it's got that Don's, that Tony Scott look to it, and it's eye candy for sure. I'm sure the flight stuff is much better than this as far as that goes, the photography and whatnot. But really, there's nothing happens in that fucking movie. It's like, oh yeah, here's a hotshot pilot. Send him to this training thing. Have some hotshot scenes. There's a girl. Hey, his buddy dies. Oh, now let's start World War III. End of movie.
Yeah.
Like nothing happens.
No, and though I've already stated that this film infuriates me, I like it much better than I like Top Gun.
Yeah. I enjoy watching it more, for sure.
Yeah, I don't really like Top Gun very much at all.
Yeah. It's been a long time since I've seen Top Gun, but I enjoy it. I remember seeing it when I was, that came out, I was like 8 years old. I remember going I lived in a little town. We had one movie theater and with one screen, and they had Top Gun, and it was a hot summer day, and I was like downtown with no shoes on because I grew up as Huck Finn sometimes. And I went to the movie with no shoes on and saw Top Gun. I remember it very clearly.
Yeah, I had Top Gun and Iron Eagle sort of like two, because I lived by the jet base. So jets were just jetting everywhere. I had all this stupid geometric, they're not stupid, they were awesome. The geometric jet t-shirts, remember those things?
Oh, no.
It'd be like...
The ones like the
black
angular
t-shirt.
shoulders that come down like... what was it? Tell
would
me.
have like... So it'd be like, it's just a normal t-shirt.
Okay.
But it had like a geometric computer like generated landscape in geometric shapes. They're just wireframe. But then there would be like a jet flying through it, and then on the top it'd be like F-18 Hornet, and like
Nice.
the shirt was so awesome that it was like playing its own guitar solos while you were wearing it.
Nice.
And I would yell at my mom and be like, everybody's gonna beat me up if I don't have the awesome jet shirts. And I wanted an F-14 and I didn't get one. I got an F-18, a stealth fighter, which is probably more awesome, but I was like, those are new. No one likes those. There aren't any movies. And then I had an F-16 Falcon shirt, which made this movie even more infuriating.
Right.
Yeah.
Fuck this movie. It's plain nonsense.
Leading us to final recommendations after I just bitched about it, because it's yours, so you'll go last. After I just bitched about it and said how much I hate it, oh, this is a do. Even though it's 2 hours long, I think it's a do, because it's just so stupid and dubious.
Yeah.
The plot is impossible. Like, no, you can't send your kid to rescue you. What? None of it works.
No, it's absurd. It's all silly. It's a big do for me. You should watch it for my nostalgia.
I actually was a little sad I didn't have more time today, because like I was like, I should just back to back this with Top Gun and see if I like Top Gun, or see how it holds up, because they did a pretty good job with the aerial footage when they shot in Israel. It's like, this is really pretty good job here. The movie itself sucks, but your plain nonsense is seemingly just as good as their plain nonsense, and I think their movie sucks just as bad as yours.
Yeah, I mean, I'd watch it again for sure. Top Gun, to find out. Probably should anyway. See if I want to go see.
You want to just do Top Gun next week?
Sure.
Okay, let's do Top Gun next week.
Nice. More jet nonsense.
More jet nonsense.
Jet Movie Podcast. Every week, a new jet movie. That'll be
Well,
great.
that's your show for Tucker. I'm Sam, and this has been Sinker Madness. Get to the chopper.